Our program is just beginning today, the 21st day of the 5th month, 2015. Nwachukwu Emmanuel, my name here behind the microphone. Today, as you can see on your screen, is about the Lower Niger Congress Secretary General, which all of us knows, Barrister Tony Nnadi, at the General Reborn Building of the United States Congress. The video we are going to repeat again, although we know that a lot of people have watched it, but we are going to go back to it so that we can analyze it with you, so that we can get exactly the information and exactly what happened, the meaning of what that conference is all about. That is what we are going to tackle tonight. The Lower Niger Congress Secretary General, all of us know Tony Nnadi, at the Reborn Building of the United States Congress in America. That is the topic we are going to deal today. The address he gave, or the speech, if you will, to understand what that means to our struggle. First of all, it is important for us to understand the shape and form of the Congress, because a lot of people are thinking that it is a conference that was arranged solely for the Lower Niger Congress to address the United States Congress. But I want to put something, a write-up on the screen that will actually interpret the meaning and the kind of Congress that was attended. If you can read on the screen right now, we can see that this conference or Congress has everything to do with Nigeria. It's a conference to re-examine the works and the prospects of Nigerians' democracy. So it is important that we bear this in mind, the nature of conference this is all about. What we can, with this now on your screen, you can agree with me with the kind of people in attendance. We can all see that this is people who has that same ideology, the same old ideology of moving the Nigerian government or the Nigerian structure sheepishly and wobbling the way it has always been going. So in a situation like this, in a scenario like this, you will wonder what the argument should be or what the speeches should look like. Why we are saying this is we are trying to make our people see facts and the efforts that are being put in it to make sure that this movement gets to a final point of success. With the scenario of conference that was held in the United States, that we, the Lower Niger Congress, attended, is a congress that was made to address Nigerian issue, the governance, the way forward for Nigeria. And we can all understand that it will only take a very strong, ambitious, determined somebody to go in there and try to change the topic on the ground. And that is why we congratulate our brother, our spokesman, the Secretary General of the Lower Niger Congress, in the person of Barrister Tony Nnadi, for his job. If you watch this, we are also going to show you the film so that you can see the setting. We have had a lot of questions about the setting also of the Congress, of the video they saw. Some people saying it's a setup that was pre-arranged, kind of. Some people needed to see more of people in the room. Some people believe that it is a pre-arranged setup. But now, let us address the matters one by one. There are so many issues. There are so many reasons for you to see the video the way they are, or the way it came out. But if you think it's a pre-arranged demonstration from the Lower Niger Congress, you are making a blunder and a fool of yourself, because if you are somebody who goes deep down into watching and reading meanings to whatever you see, you will watch that very speech, the Nnadi speech, was halted by the people who felt that he has overused their time. The video we are going to show you is a 8-minute video, but that 8 minutes was overtime for the organizers of the conference, because they had time for every speech, according to information you will get by watching the video as we play. You will see the fact that maybe they had a 5 minutes speech time for every spokesman, but Nnadi exceeded up to 8 minutes and was kind of being hushed out to stop the speech. That means, in such scenarios, makes you understand that it is not pre-planned, because he cannot plan in a way that he also will be charged out from finishing the speech he really wants to convey to our people. So that aspect, the fact that he was being hushed out or clapped and asked in a way to leave the podium that he has overstayed his time, is to make you understand that it was not pre-arranged. But the video not circulating and turning around for you to get more pictures or more people in that very hall is what I cannot give you definite answers, and I have not given anybody any definite answers, but through imaginations and experiences about things. With what we are seeing on board as the reason of this conference and the people who attended this conference, you will see that Nnadi, being a one man with a one other kind of idea in that very room, is being pushed to the wall. It's a man who is among opposition, a lot of oppositions, and we don't even know the resources by which he went there, how many people they were. Maybe the person who took that very video was one of his men among 2 or 3 they were, having a phone and taking that trying to capture in any way he could that very speech. That might be one reason why we have a concentrated camera on him. We might see also, if we go into watching some other speeches that came alongside on that very conference, we might find out that other people had good camera perspectives depending on the equipment they brought or the sponsorship they have. So this might be also a reason why you saw that kind of focused camera, the person not being not a professional, not having it in mind that he have to wave the camera around or the phone he's using around, if that might is the case. to capture, but concentrated only to get the speech of his own man, who was the man now giving the speech. I didn't say this is what happened. Let people not get me straight, because they like to dive into conclusions of people's words. But I am saying we cannot be sure now what happened, why the camera was concentrated on him alone, which is part of the doubt people have. But the doubt that is a premeditated recording, if you make that argument, that means you are not going deep. You better start looking at pictures, watching events, listening to speeches, going deep into your thinking to understand things. If you watch the end section of that very video, and we are going to show it, proves to us that he was being pushed. The people were stopping him from ending his speeches, saying he have taken much of the time. So brothers and sisters, that is a proof that it's not premeditated. Or organized. Now we are going to go in to show the very video we are talking about. Now, after that, we try to analyze it to see what exactly is there. So, brothers and sisters, I use this minute to say let's take 1 minute to 8 minutes, because we are really going to go through the whole of the video. Let's take 8 minutes to listen to this. So you bear with us and pay attentive so that we can get informations of what our brother said at that conference.
The preamble to the U.S. Constitution and how it came, and we compare it with the preamble to the Nigerian Constitution, we trace back, we will see what is wrong with Nigeria. I believe Dr. Obaraji touched on the point of the foundation that is wrecked. The definition of democracy he gave: government of the people, by the people, for the people. Those three legs is like the foundation of a house. Imagine you go to New Orleans to try to set up a house. The foundation that has to be concrete, the vertical column, and the roof. If you neglect the foundation, whatever you put on the vertical column will never get to the roof. That is the problem Nigeria has been trying to fix. And in 2007, that very problem of the preamble that lie that we the people have, made a constitution like the Americans discussed, even if it was in a battlefield, they arrived at some agreement, and that agreement has, stood the test of time. You have a situation in which, in that definition of government of the people, by the people, for the people, that first leg was first imposed by the colonial authority that came to lump everybody together to call them Nigeria. There was some discussion up to 1960 where the independence came. But the agreement, the modicum of agreement that was reached, got toppled in 1966. And therefore, since that time, it's been decreed, after decree, Dr. Obaraji was talking about your intervention, it's been decree upon decree upon decree, the last of which, decree number 24 of 1999, which we call the 1999 Constitution. It is within the ambit of that imposition that you could say that Nigeria is a disputed project, because when you went to the western side, you saw OPC that had the capacity to get enough weapons to challenge the police, to get out of the street in western region. You saw men that had enough weapons to put the Nigerian armed forces to serious test until amnesty was offered. It was like government surrendering to say And you go to Mashop and the one that came later in the northern part, they were all posing constitutional questions. In the western region, the OPC, understanding because I've been directly involved in asking them, why do you do this? The OPC was asking why the internal security arrangements of the territory of 55 million people, that will be more than 10 states in the northeast of the US, is left in the hands of strangers that do not wish them well. Mend was asking, how did the oil and gas assets of their territory or become the property of Kano people? All kinds of things. Therefore, our intervention at home had been to bring the matter from the streets under a roof to say, let us go discuss this matter. Let us accept that South Africa did, because what we have to deal with in Nigeria, whether anybody accepts it or not, is no different from what Frederick de Klerk and co. dealt with in South Africa. Apartheid constitution that was imposed by a minority that seized the access of the majority. They were doing elections every 5 years, but it wasn't democracy for the owners of the land. And whatever you did, those for whom it wasn't democracy were doing the opposite, until the society was about to collapse on their head. And Frederick de Klerk, having been elected under the apartheid constitution, had the wisdom to say, gentlemen, we now agree that it can't be a society of master and servant forever. Let us sit down, work out a new foundation. They had a parliament. It wasn't by amendment that they killed the apartheid. I will take only 5 bits from the constitution that cannot, because all this shout about change that will come, the constitutional impediments, the things that will make sure that those changes will not come, are there in black and white. And no matter how well intentioned the new administration will be, the reason why we didn't get it right in 1960 will repeat again. The preamble that says we the people have submitted our lands and our people into the union is a patent falsehood, because the soldier, Absalom Abaka, that imposed that decree is still there, and he told the story of how he imposed the decree. And went to court in 2007 to raise that question. Did we the people, the Jaw people that are protesting in the field, or the OPC people that are protesting in Ibadan, did they submit their land into this union? Why can't we sit down and do something? It won't take us 3 months. Everybody knows what the problems are, so that it can become our project. Right now, if you take a referendum in the place, that place is a disputed project site. And we're saying it is possible for water to run across the place because there's so much body of water. It's possible for electricity to come from 3,000 megawatts with coal that is lying idle. The only reason why I can't generate electricity from my part of the country is that the constitution says I cannot. Imagine if somebody were to sit in one corner of Maine and tell the people of California that the right to generate electricity has now been sequestered, or tell Texas that they have no further right on the oil and gas assets of Texas. That's the kind of thing that has happened in the place. And they are easy to fix, because we had an understanding at the beginning to be one country when each region was in control of its affairs. So that you settle what you want for education, settle what you want for healthcare. Today all those things are not there. And we are saying that no matter what anybody wants to do, if that matter of that preamble is not settled, the title document by which Nigeria is sitting on the entire territory is disputed, and we've gone to court to say it's a forgery because somebody did it and said, I did it. You forged my signature and put on a document that seized my assets, and I'm shouting and crying. All you do in response is violence and more violence and then more violence. And we say it is possible to save. We are celebrating the democracy at the general election.
I want us to stop there now to see what happened. You see that it's the people getting a little bit skeptical about the speech, and now the time also is elapsing. We are running 7 minutes here, and they are clapping hand, a sign to leave the podium for him. So that is for people who believe it is a pre-planned program, to understand that the action here now does not reflect any pre-planned activity. So
We're bound by congressional timelines, please.
In 1 minute,
We have
I'll
to stick to that. We don't want to abuse our privilege.
All right. I said, if whether we are looking for, the Constitution prefers mediocrity to excellence. That's the quota system in black and white. The corruption that everybody is shouting they're going to fight, the Constitution gives the spare key to the Treasury, to the executive branch. They account for it only when they leave office. There's nothing you're going to do about that unless...
You see the pressure going on there for him to leave that podium. And let's not forget the point of discussion by which made this conference available here, or made this conference be called. The point, we are going to show that point again for us to understand the fact that it wasn't about what he's talking about that the conference was called, and why and what will give a man such impetus to come in a position, in a circumstance like this, to make this kind of speech. Is only a man who is devoted, who is desperate, who will never change his words no matter where he is. We have seen it happening. He being in interviews, in debates, alongside with so many of them, going into dining, going in Abuja, going to Lagos, meeting with them, speaking with them at every minute, in every point in time of discussion or debate. He always stands on his point. We can also try to put reference to other Biafran leaders. We have seen it happening time after time whenever they cross the area or in the arenas of the Nigerian, or if any of them, any of the Biafran leaders should be in this very conference to talk about. Let's not forget the content of the conference. The topic is supposed to be talking about the democracy of Nigeria, and not about how to deal with the predicament we are into, which is being caused by the main point he raised, the Constitution. Many people also has come by the argument. After watching this video, I have read some comments on YouTube and also on Facebook, on Twitter. Some people arguing the fact that he did not raise the point of referendum to the level they expected, which is his argument, which is his campaign. Now, I want us to understand from the onset that for 5 minutes speech or 7 minutes, we can see him being pushed away at the 7th minute right here. Now, for a speech of this short minute, our brother left home, flight, took the risk, the expenses to go for only this length of minute speech in the United States conference. That is worth an applause. And getting there on a topic that is not inconsigned or in line with what he tried to demonstrate, he has the guts to be the odd man out in a scenario like this. Who among our leaders? This is to show transparency. This is to show incorrigible in a situation where you meet them, you speak with them, you dine with them, you eat with them, and you come out clean, standing where you are standing. This is the only man. The man you are watching on the screen now is the only man in our struggle, within the struggle, that goes indoor with them and still maintain what he maintains. We have seen Owazirike fall into their doom, come out with death all over. We have seen it within this election period. So many of our Biafran leaders, when they go to anything that has to do with Nigeria. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, before we go on, let me just make a reminder now here, show a reminder of what I'm talking about. This is the reason, the kind of conference. What you see on your screen now is the conference we went for. This conference is a conference to examine the working and the prospect of Nigerians' democracy. This is why this conference is called. And we can hear now the speech being given by our own brother who went for that conference. We will continue, and you will see some other more embarrassments to him as he tried to defend me and you.
Remove that provision. So if you don't dismantle the 68 item exclusive list that only the federal government has the right to do this and do that for everybody, you are just wasting your time. No investor in his right mind is going to take $5 billion of other people's money to go to stake in going to erect electricity that is at the pleasure and disposal of somebody in Abuja who may change tomorrow, and then that investment is in disarray. So we just say that we have to do something.
You people saw how he ended it, and if this is a pre-planned, I think it will only take a genius to see the end of the planning to work out this way. So, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen of the Eastern region, we are still at it. This is the reason why the conference was called. And today I am telling you here as your brother, as somebody who has gone and worked with so many teams, and somebody who is speaking with so many people who have the say on what is happening. A lot of people from time to time has always misunderstood me. People say I always wanted to be on what I say. People say Emmanuel likes it to end by his own words. Now let's examine that fact, because it's good when you say things, when you hear things, you try to examine it. If Emmanuel is somebody who says what he says is the last option, why then will Emmanuel go from BVI, Bilie, Supreme Council of Elders, to Dr. Hamefula? He could have stamped on that first belief, but he was overwhelmed by another argument. After that, saw another argument by which I am being accused today. Also, the same people who say that I want my argument, my reasoning to be the last, still accuse me of jumping from one place to another. Now, you see, it's a contradiction in the sense that if I am somebody who believes that my word is final, when I entered into Bilie or to Ahamefula and start to say words that support their ideology, it could have been there, I say final. But because I take debates, I take from listening, understanding, being overwhelmed, surrender to reality, I was able, and so many people also, all these things are the things that get us into the question of being consistent also. So many people talk about consistency. Again, when you jump from place to place like I did, showing that I am not a man that says it must be my word, when I did that jumping, they turned it to being inconsistent. Now, what is inconsistent? Like I always like to preach, I want to clear that very side of the argument. Inconsistence, you cannot be consistent in foolishness. You cannot be consistent in where they are cheating you. You cannot be consistent in where you know is a failure. If you are somebody who is excited about the word Biafra, you come, the first jumping in because of your excitement, you run into one of the dubious groups we know we have. A lot of them. We know that. So if somebody happens to run into any of these groups because of his excitement, his willingness for freedom, his goal is for freedom, and he hear any of these groups shouting Biafra and he jumps in, then comes to realize that he has just jumped into the wrong bus. What do you expect them to do? Because you want the word consistence to have a place to deter people from making the right choice, from searching for this freedom. You have to look for it. We know with the setup we have, with the numerous groups, ideologies, the fraudulent characters also that is mixed up within the very good ones, we know very much that somebody can run into a bad set. And the best thing for you to do is to wake up at any time you realize you might have been led into making a mistake. For this same fact, consistency in this very struggle is the consistency to looking for freedom, the end stop. People bring in the fact of somebody wanting to make his own word the finals, and seeing the person also jumping and calling it inconsistent, are contradicting their own selves, and at the same time stopping your ability to think towards the success and the progress of this movement. You concentrate your efforts towards trying to observe another man, not first observing yourself. From my personal observation, and from that jumping up and down you accuse me of, I've been able to gather a lot of truthful facts and to know the right card. I've been able to assess the people and their notions towards this search, the groups, their ideologies. Now, if we should throw the card on the ground, we want to take them all one by one. It's an established fact that no one of these groups can do it alone. So the best fact is trying in any way possible to be unified as to fight. We have been trying to get this done a long time by calling meetings, trying to solve problems between groups and groups. It have taken some years now that this sort of arrangements has been going on. At the same time, at the time we try to solve problems between groups, other groups are pumping up and more problems are emerging from different sources. Now is the time for us to think fast and try to analyze every information we have around us. It is also important that you should dig in to know other people's agendas and ideologies. Try to be part of it. And try to separate yourself, your inner self, from accepting them, but put them before you by being part of them one by one, trying to understand them as much as you can, so that you can make a good analyze. You can analyze these things to the best of it. It is easy to check oranges, which one is ripe, which one is not ripe, when you have the two of them in sight? Even if there are 15 oranges, you can choose the rotten one, you can know the ripe one, you can know the whatever you want to know, the best of them all. You can figure it out if you are looking at them all. You can touch them, you can feel them, you can turn them around to verify them. There is no way somebody will tell you the oranges in that drawer are not good, only this one I have in hand is good, and you believe them. That is the problem, because you want to be consistent. You want to be seen as consistent. That person used that language to tie you down, telling you that you are inconsistent is when you try to verify those oranges in the drawer. Mind you, what these oranges is for you to suck them to get good taste. He doesn't want you to see those oranges. He doesn't want you to verify them, to compare them. He hide 14 in the drawer and tell you that this one he has at hand is the best, the sweetest, the most ripe, the smoothest. And you believe them. And tell you the minute you want to look at the 15 orange, the rest 14 there, you are inconsistent. And you believe them. That is something I know as a painted sepulchre. As a ili eterozu. Ili eterenzu. He might be having such orange painted and decorated, and you see it and tell you there's no need looking at there. You know what an orange is. It just looks like an orange. But what he has in hand is the best, because it's painted, it's smooth, it's okay looking. But it's not the best, my brother. There is no way you can compare things without being involved in them to know the right from the wrong. There is no way you can. I keep telling this. This is a really good example for you to know. You only can compare 2, 3, 4, 5 oranges. Which one is the best? If you have all of them within your sight and within your reach, you can compare, you can touch, you can feel. Then you can know which of these oranges are ripe, most decayed, most smooth, looking good. That is when you can make the best choice. But if out of 7 oranges, 6 is being hidden in a cupboard, and somebody tells you this one he has in hand is the best, and you believe them without comparing it with the other one, and tells you if you want to look around, it's inconsistent for you, because you have to look at only the orange in hand. That is the problem we have. That is why I have accusations all the way. But I am happy and I am proud that I did what I did. I spend my money not contributing to people who tell me this and that, but to look and search for the truth among what is happening. And I can tell you, my brothers and sisters, we are working hard to make sure that we get unity in any way we find possible. It might not be the way you are thinking about it. It might not be the systems we have used, because we have tried so many possibilities. Talking to people, talking to ourselves, trying to make ends meet. But it's not been easy. But what we are going to do this time is, like I was talking with somebody today, they say we cannot just depend on one ideology. We have to have first, second plan, third plan, and so on. Plan A, B, C, D, something like that. It's agreed. But in as much as we cannot come together to be one union, to have these plans as A, B, and C, that means we have to find another way to get it done. That means we also have plan A, B, and C, in as much as all these groups are existing with so many other ideologies. That's their A, B, and C. But the fact now is which one becomes the A before the B and the C. Now that is where we have to throw the cards on the ground to watch these groups. That is why I tell you, you really need to see the oranges you want to choose before you can make a choice. You need to feed them, you need to observe them, you need to understand them. Now, we take them by what they present to us. If you want, this is the oranges and this is what we can see. What we see when you talk about somebody is calling the line right now. Hello? No, he cut. Let me go on. When we see what we are talking about, sorry, I lost it there a little. I come again. So now where we are is the position where we have to throw the cards on the ground to see the oranges we want to choose. Which of them is the best choice? How are we going to do it? We are going to do it with what we know about these groups. If you have been in it, that's why you need to go study it. You need to understand them before you say no. They don't do that. That's why I trade the way I did, and can be able to stand here before you to tell you this. Now, to throw the cards on the ground, you start to study all these groups one by one. Not to belittle anyone or but this is a homework each and every one of us has to do, because we are looking for solution. If you are looking for solution, you have to compare things together. You don't need to hate them outright without comparisons. You have to watch the ideologies coming from so many groups that you can think of. You need to study these ideologies. You need to be part of them in a way to understand them. Then you can throw the cards on the ground. We talk about now the Masol. That is the father of the movement so far from that started it all, anyway, so to say. If we see what Masov have given us for the last 19 years, it has been a movement that started to be strong, feel strong, look strong from the onset. But like I said during the running of the video, when they meet the people of the other side, the Nigerians, they fall. That is what happened when it came to that stage. Now, what have they given us again from that time to now? What is the plan? What is the build-up? What is their agenda? What is their way of operation? What is their goal? How are they going to give us that freedom? Is it by printing of plate numbers, driving license? Every day talking about it for 19 years and counting now, we know. Okay, if you know more about Masob, maybe we know we're in a program, you can call in, you can put on some other things on the table so we can talk about it. What they stand for, what we know so far. Because we are trying to get things right. It's not about, they have done a great job in so many aspects. We recognize that, we appreciate that, we hail them for all the good jobs. The reminding of people of the world that we still exist. It's a great achievement. There is no way the history of Biafra will be written if it comes, or Lower Niger, if it comes tomorrow, that you will not have the name of Masob involved and Wazirike himself, no matter what. So, we understand it. But in as much as we want to get things right, there is not supposed to be any sentiment attached when you are making your decisions. This should be important. And the study of the numerous groups also is important. If that will lead people to calling you inconsistent, don't buy that idea. I want you, brothers and sisters, to go in, dig in so many ways you can, no matter how little, to try to understand what is this group standing for. Who are they if they say they are looking for freedom? Don't just don't just wake up and take them as enemy if somebody tells you to. There is a lot of job we have to do if you're really interested in fighting this freedom. And most of this job is left in our hands to do individually. As an you have to do the thorough work about yourself, how you understand, how you reason, how you are ready to give in, to investigate in what you really want to know. Oh, and then the people who use their resources and put in and struggle and do things just because of freedom. When they just demoralized in so many kinds of ways. This is the problem we are having. But it is important. There is this very small experiments we can do to understand the fact. Like I'm literating here, you cannot choose between things to know the right one if you don't have them within your sight. You have to feel them, you have to see them, you have to understand them to be able to make a choice. So let's not let anybody say this person is jumping from here to one place to another. We really need to jump around. You search for that freedom. How do you search for it? You search for it even within your own premises to make sure that your own house is correct before you start going out to shout, I am looking for freedom. Are you really looking for freedom from the right channel? There are so many channels out there. There are so many wonderful channels out there. There are so many good ideologies out there. You have to consider a lot of things. The time frame, how possible, the risk, involvement, collateral damage. Now, I've made a little lay down about what I know about what Masol is, the good side of it, and what we have not seen them doing for how long they've been there. Now we talk about the Radio Biafra who that emerged also through Masol. He came out strong, he came out wonderful, he did a lot of things. Do go around the world, and please, this guy also is a good, very good orator that did a very wonderful job. We all know it. And we know there's a problem right now. And everybody knows how this problem came about. So many people know the right thing, so many people know the wrong thing. It depends on what you know. Okay, now it is where it is today. What is his ideology? What is this? What he show us? What is the orange we have in our hand from him to examine? How is he going to get this freedom for us? He says the ideology is violence. That is what we can take. If anybody knows more, we are on a interactive problem. You call in and you tell me more you know about the setting he gave about finding that freedom, then we can talk about it, we can debate it, we can understand ourselves. Because it's time to reason fast and reason good. Now, violence. Now in violence, let's think about it. War, you're talking about. You are going to think about, even if you have the arms, you're going to think about how to always rearm yourself. Not one time start having empire somewhere without a continuity of rearming yourself, because you don't know how long it might take to achieve what you want. A war is unpredictable. You don't know. You have to think also about the casualties. You have to think about sustainability, how you can sustain it. You have to think, most especially, the end come. You can't predict a war. Even the greatest nations in the world, United States nation, we know, Europe joined together, has gone and they lost in so many ways, so many times. They don't normally come out with the right result they needed, they went in for. Today we are having more problem in the world because of the problem they think they went to solve. And you don't use fire to stop fire. A lot of times I have another program I call it the Common Sense program, where I try to talk about the general things that are happening in the life today, why the world is getting it wrong. Not about Biafra issue or our freedom issue. I have a program where I try to, but I've stopped it for some time now. I've been a little bit busy. But what we are talking about here now, you don't use fire. You would with a bomb of another fire. What you do have there in as an explosion where the fire will spread to different places, and that is exactly what is happening in the world today. They used fire to say they want to fire Osama bin Laden and they want to fire Saddam Hussein, and what they get today is that fire splitting all over the world. Pockets of fire is imagined now because if you could live and you matter how do yetisa. God hampempe and pempe. That is exactly what is happening in the world. We are seeing it. So now we are talking violence according to the this thing of Arabia. That we know, like I said, if you know more better ideologies that they put there on the table, you can bring it forward on this interactive program. We'll talk about it politely and understand it, because there's no need again cursing one another and being rude and not thinking. This is a time we really need to understand this fact, because we are going to win. We must have to win. We are on the game, we are on the path. And in as much as I don't know about you, but my luck as Nwachukwu Emmanuel has never driven me to fighting for what I lose. So I know we are going to succeed. If you are one of the people who also know that you are blessed, just like I am blessed, because it's my pride to tell you that, if you are one of those who are blessed to always touch things that are progressive, then mind you that and know it now that we are going to do it. That's why we need to be reasonable. That's why we really need to come down again and see what I know and I know what you know. Now, violence. All the things I mentioned here, the sustainability, the funding, the people, the zeal, the manpower, and the coming out of it successful, how sure are we about it? The readiness, of course. Read it. How long is it going to take before the Arabic Air started? How long is it going to take before he achieved it? What is going to happen between and within? We don't know. Okay. If that is a choice of movement, let's keep that. We'll talk about Mossab, we'll talk about Radio Biafra, we'll talk about Bilie. The Bilie ideology they put on the table for us, which I worked with, is the idea of going to court, which is good, which I always supported, which I will always support, which I will always like to be kept and followed, even as we pursue no matter what. The idea of going to look for our freedom through the judicial means is a nice prospect. It's a workable ideology in life today, because everything is possible. I'm somebody who believes that before like I told you, in as much as I am there, I believe it's going to be successful. Now it's going to be successful, but let's think about the time. It's a good idea, it's workable. Before I knew it, I followed it because I know it's going to be successful. No matter when, if it happens to be my children, I know reading the time I had in mind, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, for me, no problems, in as much as we started and I know within that time it's going to be successful in the eyes of my children, it's no problem for me. I accepted it, I worked with it. Then with time, I came across now the Belay ideology. Let's finish it. Let me not take it as a story, but let's use it as a summary, as an analysis, the way I want to bring it. So now, we are talking about their ideology is going to court. Going to court, you and me can see the fact that it's good. The time frame might take 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 50 years. And when we are talking about a place like Nigeria, being the country we are not talking about, not international, but not European world. When you talk European world, that's where we know it's possible. But because we believe in the possibility, in positiveness, we know that that is also possible. But the time, it can be 20 years, it can be 30, that can be 50, that can... Good. That is Belay. Now, I don't know what Asare Dokubo, when they do their thing in the Niger Delta, because I'm talking about them because they are all about with us also. They are the Biafra we talk about. When we mention Biafra, we mean plus them. When we mention Lower Niger, we also mean plus them. So we have to analyze everybody together. I was speaking with him today too. I spoke with him. I know a lot of insight about what their determination is all about. If they can go on their own, fine. But the possibilities is the problem. If they can come with us, okay. When they have these two concepts, the idea of drawing them to completely fold their own and come to us is completely unworkable. You don't even think about it. These are people who have having two concepts. They believe they can do it on their own. Fine. But the possibility is the problem. Just like we are having a problem of possibility to work out the Biafra we're talking about here. So we are not better than them. But they also believe if we can go together, fine. But there must be a rules, there must be regulation, there must be amendments in belief and movement. If we are talking something like that, we are talking. If they are talking about their fight, they fight for themselves. They fight to gain what is not, like we say, not being possible. But it is their right. And it's their belief pushing them. We see it in impossible. They see it possible. They have their zeal. Some might be playing also trick with themselves there, like people are playing tricks with us here too in the game. You get these things everywhere. So I said that before get to put in on your zonanya, can it go revise golden says, see what we want to accuse somebody, whether it's how we that's something I learned about our people. Our people don't come to debate. Our people don't come to dialogue. When you call an Igbo man and a German or Yoruba man or no matter what, an American, as long as all an Igbo man, when they come to lecture you. It's wrong. They come to tell you, they listen to you, but they don't listen to understand you because they're already made up. And this is the problem we're having. I try to talk with the Rivers man, the Efik man, as I went home, I talk with a lot of people, talk with our Igbo people. An Igbo man always wants to lecture you. He's not trying to make amendments, listen to you to dilute and give. He only wants to give you. So, that is by the way anyway. Let's keep laying the matters on the table. We try to lay now the Lower Niger. We lay the Biafra in exile. Biafra in Exile started also a good movement. Everybody knew them. They did the things they did, create awareness abroad and online. Started the first radio. Worked with Owazirike, or wanted to work with Owazirike before the fall of Owazirike. Let's say their power, we believe now, was their belief that Owazirike was going to make it. So they become the movement in the Western world. But as Owazirike fell, they also went asleep. That is what is happening today. There is no way forward. There is no ideology put there on the table to say this is what they are doing to get Biafra. If they are doing anything, if anybody knows it, let them come out, bring it, say it, then we can talk about it. We can see whether it's the best way forward also. Now we'll talk about the Lower Niger Congress. The Lower Niger Congress have an ideology. They say their ideology is to tackle the Nigeria head on, face to face, tell them their sins to their face, and tackle them with where they got it wrong through the constitution that will arrive us, that will bring us to referendum. But people don't understand it. Like I said, people said on that very video, there's no much pressure given on referendum. What will lead you to that referendum is if you make them talk about that constitution, and if they refuse to talk about that constitution. So either ways, what we are talking about is what will get us to the point we are. That is why we need to do it reasonably. We need to hook them where even anybody there is a way you go about a mad dog. Nigeria is a mad dog. Asara na Abamadabu at the same time. People say you need to fight them. There is a lot of argument going on out there. Anyway, so many, with time we are going to address a lot of questions. A lot of what people, there are so many people, others say Biafra is more known because of when you come to in the context of the name, to the platform to use to forge ahead, because now the Lower Niger is giving a platform for referendum. Let's think about that referendum first of all. Let's think about their ideology, what they are saying, what this constitution is going to bring about. Let's think if we come together, how quick can we get to calling for a referendum? You can be thinking about 2 years, 5 years. The best limit, the best time frame we have so far. A time frame that does not condemn any of all other plans moving forward. That's why I say the Belay plan is there. The Nnamdi plan, if he can do it, if he can pull it out, maybe if we try, we have to now sit which one should be the plan A, plan B, and plan C. And we follow them accordingly and support them accordingly. If one doesn't work, we use the other, if we want to do that. But let's see the cheapest, the most intelligent, the most active, the easiest also, the most tactical way to do this. And we have it. The argument is on. If we can surrender the members we have in our so many groups that have all these ideologies that represents the B, C, D, E, F of ideas, we get these members to say we want to have a date for referendum, to come out to tell the Nigeria that we want a referendum and we are going to declare our freedom. Not what Ogoni did. Ogoni Federation, we all know it. Sarowiwa did his own. Everybody, they come, they do their own. It's not working by one particular region saying they want to do it. We see the union and the unity or the blood that binds us together doesn't want to let us lose. It is time for us to think about how to merge ourselves and move on as one. The name, some people say the name Biafra has been fought for is a name that they know internationally, and otherwise if we start with another name, this, that. It's reasonable depending on who you are and where you are looking at it from. It's a reasonable argument. Biafra has fought. But let's not forget that the man who led us to Biafran war did not die within the Biafran war. He lived in exile, came back in the same country he fought, and surrendered the fight. It is obvious. He died and was buried as a Nigerian and not as a Biafran soldier. There are 3-point-something million people who died with the name Biafra. Within that Biafra war, within the time Biafra was declared and recognized by the how many countries, 5, 6, 7 countries that recognize us as a nation. There are people who died knowing that they are Biafrans. But the man that led them to war, I'm not saying any bad, I'm not talking about my speech. Don't misunderstand me. Don't take my words. I don't know, maybe there are so many other words to use, but for those of you who went to school of sociology, you can do it better to put the words the way they are supposed to be. But don't misunderstand me or take my words to be a letdown or a neglect to any individual. But I am only trying for us to try to reason these things completely accordingly. I've done it before. Ask this question. The spirit of the people who died as Biafrans, 3-point-something million people died as Biafrans or more. And the man that led them to war, the great hero that led them to war, did not die, came back and died in Nigeria. What do you think the feelings of this 3-point-something million will be on this our hero? Just normal, relaxed, and really good feelings to think about both how things in Nigeria work, how things work. What do you think? If he had the opportunity to come back and still die a Biafran, but came back and died not by any pressure as a Nigerian. I don't know about you, but it's a letdown to those names. It's not disrespect on my side to our father Ojukwu who went, because what he did was what he's supposed to do. He's a great man. There are so many reasons also to qualify people as heroes. When you die for the cause or when you succeed the cause. Neither of this also did he achieve. Not that he is not a great man, not that he did not do what he is supposed to at the time, but everyone can agree with me also that there were mistakes made somewhere, and that continued after he came. If we don't reconcile this very foundation to the spirit of the people we believe we are agitating for their death, we are going to continue making mistakes. Now, I want to bring it in another spiritual context to the fact I believe from my spiritual experience that the spirit of the 3.5 million plus people that died will be more privileged to see the freedom of the land and the people they fought for, their sons, which are we, they fought for, our freedom of the land, and our freedom will be more of their concern than the freedom of that name that attributes to that very man that did not die with that name, Biafra. I don't know if you get me. What I just said is a kind of spiritual contest. So maybe when you watch this video, you can go back again, play that role a little bit to understand a little bit of what how it went. Then you can feel it, whether it's wrong or right. That's why when I notice the fact that there is another mission, another way for we can get the freedom that is more acceptable to the whole of the people of the region, as long as it is freedom that we achieve, as long as we get that freedom that those people died for, the land, the people that they fought for, achieve that end. Even without the name. I believe that our goal should be more on the goal, our consistency, as people want to always put it into this very contest, in this struggle. For me, I see no reason for that language. If anybody puts or endorses that language, it's a language of fraud to keep people pinned down. But I believe if we have to use it in this contest, consistency is to the end point, which is the freedom of the people, irrespective of how many groups you run into, irrespective of the name Biafra, irrespective of what people see you to be. Now we are having a problem of people turning around. There is a wave of truth going around, and people are beginning to realize where the truth lies, and God is beginning to reveal to the people where the light is. But now we are having a problem of turning around, swallowing of shame. Those people that believe that the lower Niger or the Nadi who is representative is arrogant. Those people who have in so many ways or in one way or the other had an encounter with him that did not go well, that has said one or two wrong things, physical or by the side to him or on him. Even those also who have through my channel have misunderstanding, a lot of people who are calling me different kinds of names, all those people are having that very problem of turning around. But I want us to just think a bit about who we are and what we really say we can do, whether when that time comes, whether you can really do it. Now, we have a situation from the onset when we were talking about the RBL war. A lot of people were so eager, a lot of people were so into it that they say, I can die for Biafra. I will die for this freedom, is what you mean. To get our people free, to get the land whole again. There are a lot of people who said a lot of things, so want to kill another of his brother because of only a word he said on Facebook. No, I'll do this because I love Biafra so well. I can do anything for Biafra. I heard it all. This is a simple thing now for you to do for Biafra. It's not about you going to die for Biafra. It's not about you dying for that freedom anymore. It's just about you to turn around and forget and sell that shame of what encounter you must have gone with Emmanuel, with Anthony Nadi, or whoever that is in the lower Niger that might deprive you of making that U-turn, in as much as you have seen the truth. A lot of people have so many reasons. A lot of people call me this time, they say they understand it, they see the ideology, they see what they are doing is good, they like it, they support it, but they don't promote it because of how do I just make a U-turn. But that U-turn is that one, everything you say you can do for Biafra. This is the time you can show it to Biafra that I can sell the shame. I can humiliate myself even if that is the case. To turn back to that thing I say was shit. Because I found out I was making a mistake. If we can be able to sell that shame now, if we can be able to do that everything we promised, this is a light thing to do. It's not killing yourself. Nobody now asks you to kill. Don't go kill somebody. Don't go die. Don't go fight. It's not the time for that. Let's use the first plan. Let's use the first easiest, cheapest time frame, nearest opportunity we have, with a good tactical argument on the table with pressure. We all saw the pressure Tony Nadi went through in USA. I will show it again because this is all about this program. For people to know the context of that very conference. It was a conference for Nigeria to talk about the workability and the prospect of the Nigerian democracy. That was what it's all about. It's not like people think, maybe that the lower Niger lobby to have a speech or an address with the United States Congress. We all know what it means and how much it takes before you can have enough assets, money-wise, support-wise, before you can have the possibility to lobby such a high forum as a group, or only him to do that. So he had to go through already an existing body that has to do and work how they continue thieving and stealing our money. This is what this very conference was all about. This is a conference that all the Biafran groups we have today, if you send them alongside with these people to talk about this workability of this and prospect of this democracy of Nigeria, they will go there and follow them and talk alongside through this topic. This is a fact. But this man, when you are talking about somebody standing for what he stands for, when we should know that this is the only man. We have seen it happening in Nigeria. We have seen him doing it again in the United States now, going into their forum and also insisting on what he's talking about. People say he did not go and talk about referendum as the pressure. Yeah, I understand that point. I accept it. But we should also give him an applause for the courage, because the pressure, it is like we all are humans. We know what it means. Others talk about the setup of the room is like a pre-programmed or pre-arranged program that he did. But I try to clear that off. If you watch the ending of the program of his speech, you see that they were forcing him to leave the podium because he have exceeded the time. To show you it wasn't pre-arranged, there were audience who were taking snapshots and we had up the people who clapped hands to push him away was not an arrangement for people who think like that. And also for the people who are thinking about the camera, why it does not turn around to get the whole people in the hall and all this and all that. You imagine this man is going into this occasion, how many delegates there might be, 2 or 3. You imagine them in the center of this kind of people, you see their names there, the people, and now talking about only the movement, the forward movement of the Nigerian democracy. And they know their job is to come and break this very forum with their own words. Imagine the pressure you as a human being you have when you are in that scenario, in that very situation. Now, imagine in that atmosphere, they might not be able to have an equipped camera for themselves to picture him when he. Maybe we have other cameras, other press who are there, who came for other people, release a more better picture, a more better video of him. Maybe in the nearest days we will see that and see a more better the rooms very well. I know that there are other people who were there, other press who will release their own pictures. If we search it, we will find it by the grace of God, because the anxiety they lived through in that and the pressure they went through in that room, one can say that recording might, the way it stood, also an upright picture, might be from a cell phone pointed upright, just to capture, to make sure they capture their man on that point in that speech. So the intent or the ability to be at the same time professional in a field that is not yours, to know that you have to wave the cameras around to capture pictures, might not be the first priority at that moment. And we see after the video, as he went away, it's like the camera, the cell phone was lowered. You can see the carpet before he drops it. So it was not a professional video recording, because of this kind of support he had, the man who had to shoot it. And we will get more better if we give that support. A lot of people are calling, saying they like this, they like that, like I was saying. Some people say they are watching. You are watching, then who is walking? Who will be walking? If you look at it, it's a good idea, it's a straightforward, movable ideology. Why not promote it? Look at the pressure, the support we have given to Biafra movements for over 19 years. And look at the result they have given us so far. Let us for once support the lower Niger. Let us for once support this man who eats and dines with the devil and comes out complete human. This is a man who eats and dines and debates and lobby with the devil. Even this very conference, with what you can see on the screen there, the meaning, the intent of this very conference is also a conference for the devils. Even the Americans, the ambassadors, everything, all of them are working to keep the union of the Nigeria the way it is, for them to continue their activities. And this is where he walked in. Any other Biafran leader who is a delegate to this very conference, who goes from here, from our land to America for this very conference, to talk about this very examining the works and the prospects of the Nigerian democracy, we never go there to talk Biafra or what their ideology is. This is the only man that felt and they lived that pressure. Other people like RBL, they stay, I don't know law. You go and hide, you don't meet them. Like I said, I am trying to give us now. Let's classify the men who are leading these struggles and know their strength and their abilities to know who we have to follow. Arubi El Namde is doing a good oral job, but we see that he doesn't engage them. Instead, he denounced them and say they don't have anything to do with them, but you have to take your freedom from them. If you want to fight me, if you want to get something from me, you have to come to me before you have to get to me before you get to you have to come to me before you come up on that thing. In as much as all more it's a fact. Ya wụrụ na ị ga-abịa gwa m okwu gwa m aghụghọ gwa m okwu meda m olu obi nara m ya, you have to engage me. So in any way you have to engage who has what you're looking for in order to get it. You cannot be shouting without engaging. And we have seen it that what is there is no meeting, there is no talking, there is no delegates being sent from the Arubi Air to the Nigerian government. We have instead seen an otherwise a very nasty activity where their engagement with the Nigerian authority was to report the Bilie at the court case. This is where they engage with Nigeria to spoil the activity that searches the same quest they are looking for, no matter what your differences might be. That is one. Let's look at Dr. Ikedife, who is the spokesman, so to say, for Bilie and the Supreme Council, IPOB under the Supreme Council of Elders. So many times, once he gets over to that border in a situation where they are talking issues that concern the uplifting of Nigeria, he talks the uplifting of Nigeria. That is a fact. The National Conference is one situation. The Buhari election time was so many situations arose and came, and we saw him immediately. Is talking. He doesn't use the opportunity he gets to meet these people, to speak with them, to advocate for what is in his mind or for that ideology he believes in, he preaches, he wants us to follow. But when they come home, they go to court to fight the same people you met and discuss how to make everything work good. You go again behind now and hide behind the Bilie human right to say we don't want that thing I told you yesterday. I mean, this is what we call double standard. It is confusing. And you can always say, I didn't mean this, I meant that. You can always be right at all times, while we get wrong as the answers. Let's examine Ahamefula or Enokwachi running the Biafran in exile. They don't have any engagement. They don't want to negotiate. They don't talk with Nigeria. They don't also deal with the Nigerian government because they believe they are Biafran as in exile. They don't see the fact that you have to meet the person who has your thing, engage him in any way possible, by fighting, by talking, by tricking, by lying, to get what you want. You must have to. You must have to. It's not a matter of what your ideology is. If you build up the ideology, you take it to the field, and the field lands on where you want to take that thing from, which is Nigeria. That's where we want to take Biafra from. That's where we want to take Lower Niger from. So you have to engage. Once you overlook that very point, You never start. Because where are you going to get that thing you are searching from if you don't go to where it is? If you don't engage it, ma ọ ga-akụ ya ọkpọ, ma ị ga-agba ya ụkwụ, ma ị ga-akụ ya isi, ma ị ga-egbere ya ikpere n'ala, ma ị ga-arịọ arịrịọ, ma ị ga-aghọ ya aghụghọ. You have to get there. Okay, let's examine Wazirike. Wazirike engaged them. Then what happened? Today he's a snake in the green grass. Oh yeah, oh diri ndị kwe ndị ekwe amazikwa ebe ọ na-anọ ma ọwa n'elu ma ọwa n'ala. Since agbara ya ọgwụ Nigeria, you can't understand. Today we feel for him, tomorrow some people, nobody knows, as long as I can tell, even in Libo, Manala Beke, people are in disarray about his position. We are receiving that same call again. Let me see if I can pick it. Yeah, Stephen, Philip, good evening.
Good evening.
You say? I am online now and I am making my program. I am going to upload it tomorrow. I'm on my line, I'm programmed, and there are audience online also. So I am just giving some analysis. So you are welcome to the program.
You have somebody already?
I'm not with her. There are audience watching the program. You are live on the show. So when you come in the evening, when I tell you, you should know that you are live. When I tell you we are live on program, I'm live on show and I've been discussing. So that is what we are. Sorry for that interruption, ladies and gentlemen. It's a brother there who tried to engage also in this very program. Like we all know, we are running now about 1.5 hours or 2 hours in this very show, and in a short time we'll be closing down. But I have to finish all because we are taking them one after the other as it stands. Now we have given you all the lowdowns about the ideologies of the groups, and we try to take the people who lead the groups, their activities and who they are and how firm they stand by what they stand and what they say, to build up our individual minds to know exactly how to do the right thing. We have spoke among so many things about people selling their shames and making a U-turn when you find out that there is a way forward. Maybe you have a kind of nightmare discussion or unwanted conversations with somebody who is engaged in the lower Niger, that you feel shameful to turn around. I just reminded our people about the promises we gave about doing anything, killing ourselves, doing everything we can for Biafra, which means the freedom of the people of the East. So if we have made such promises, this is the time to show it. It's not about killing yourself now. It's about just doing that everything, which includes, if you think it is humiliation, if you think it is turning back to that your shit when you realize it's no longer shit, then it's the best thing to do. That is the best thing to do. We are seeing it. I've laid all the programs like I know, give you a lot of instances, talk to you in so many ways to make you understand the reasons. Also, we need to jump from one group to another to understand it, because like instance I gave, you can only examine and know the best orange from 10 oranges when you have them in your hand. You can see them, you can feel them, you can examine them. If you have one orange and somebody tell you this one orange is the best, the rest of the 9 in the cupboard you are not seeing, they are rubbish. In the drawer there are 9, they are rubbish, and he tells you that when you want to go and look at that 9, that means you are not consistent. It is right. You cannot make a best choice of the best orange. You make a mistake because you are believing you have the possibility to feel these oranges, to see them, to understand them, which one is more rotten, which one is more ripe, which one is more smooth. before you can make your choice. That's what exactly is left for us to do now in this movement. You have to study each one of these groups. It's important that you know Bilier's operatives, you know Lower Niger, you know Nadi, you know Dr. Hamefla own, you know Biafran Foundation, you know Biafran in Exile, you know a little bit and support a little bit to understand what is pushing, what is exactly makes this story better than this. Then you can make a good choice. That is why the notion that somebody who is jumping up and down is inconsistent shouldn't have come up in this very circumstance at all. Anybody bringing about that is bringing it to pin people to be enslaved. The consistency in this movement is the last point, which is the freedom for the people. Like I tried to analyze where I was before our brother came in. I was talking about now the people who are governing our movement. How they feel, how they do, how they react in every time of their lives and their speeches, wherever they are when it comes to anything public. We have seen it. That is why we have to think about who is the strongest, who is the whiter than white, who is the most direct, what activities points to that. I've tried to analyze it, and the same thing proves that Doni Nadi is the only man who dines with the devil and come out as a human being. Nnamdi Kanu does not even go to the meeting of the devil. He denounced them. The Biafra in Exile does not go to the meeting of the devil. They denounce them. They say they don't have anything to do with them. They don't engage them, not by war, not by plead, not by trick. They belay under Supreme Council of Elders, engage them by court, which is right, because when you want to take something from me that you think belongs to you, you have to engage me. Either you give me a call or get your marriage or give woman or give oshi, but the thing is that you must have to engage me. So these two people, the Exile people, Billy in Exile, and then Nnamdi, that says that you don't engage where I wonder what they want to take if you don't want to go and take it from where it is. Because what we are looking for is our freedom that is being held by Nigeria. So, the only man who we can trust that can go in, we have seen it. It happened within the election time. Ikedife go to Nigeria to talk about anything that has to do with Nigerian activities. He talk only Nigerian activities. He come back, he tell you how could you go there where everybody is saying this and say that. But we see it play out today. That's why I put on the screen of our studio here. If you are watching your screen now on our line, you will see the reason of that very conference in London. It is written boldly, is to examine the working and the prospect of the Nigerian democracy. And the people who attended it are the people who are also in collaboration with the evil in Nigeria. Both them, be them Americans and be them the ambassador of our Nigeria to the US. All of them are supportive of the regime, the system we are being governed with. So this is a forum. This is the scenario that this our brother find himself in. So many of our people are thinking that this is an arranged invitation just for the Lower Niger, where you have the comfort to go and stand and address the people the way you are. But where he went in is the land of the devil once more. And if no Biafra movement leader, like I keep saying, who are, like we know, some of them are being recognized in Nigeria today as a spokesman or eldersmen or what they call themselves. if they are sent to such delegates, as delegates in such occasion, to come and talk about this, the prospect of Nigeria's democracy, they come all the way from home, irrespective, they are in Biafran struggle, be in one group or the other. When they come here in US, they will talk in line with what is been the topic of the matter. None of them will go there and start to talk differently, like Tony was the odd man out, so that we will see the difficulty he's going through. Like people are having their reasons of saying this and that, why he did not pressurize more on the referendum, that is the campaign. I accept that. I understand it. I myself, I felt it. The pressure was not given on that very word. But we should also accept the pressure he found himself in. Also, the person, the camera that took that very video, I am sure is a cell phone of one of his own people who decided to make sure he captured that moment. But if we analyze what happened between the last minute of his speech, we will understand that he was being forced out. For those of us who think that is a pre-planned action, that for people who say they didn't see anybody in the hall or something, maybe it's a pre-plan. I'm still telling them that if you watch the last tale of that very, you see that he was being pushed to go out. So you see that there's no pre-plan there, because you couldn't have planned it like for you to be pushed out. And I am promising people, by the grace of God, I know there are other journalists who were there in that room, who took another perspective of that very conference, who, but if we search, we will see all videos coming from professionals who were there in that room. Because I believe, I don't know, I'm not sure, but I'm just taking for what I experienced could do. You will know that the way that phone stood, the way the video is on a straight point, you know it's taken from a cell phone. And this might be taken from one of the people who accompanied him. Not a professional camera, but somebody who is desperate, who will not occur to him to flash the camera around the iPhone or whatever phone around to catch the pictures of the people in that room. But his intent, his mind was focused on capturing his man at that point, which he did. And you can see after that very speech, the camera went down to the floor, showing you is a phone. So for people, because why I'm saying this is I know the calls I've received, and how people who have watched that video, their presentations, what they think they saw, that makes them feel a little bit skeptical about it, and that is the matters I try to address. You go back again, you watch these things, you come and see this very label we put up here to make you know the level of the people, the kind of people that attended that very conference, and why that conference was called in the first place. And the gods our own man have to dine with the devil and not sing the songs of the devil. Like he always does in Lagos, in Abuja, everywhere he has been doing it, we see it. In interviews, he falls in interviews with them on the same studio. They invite him to be in their party. They ask him to form political party, to be and work with the system of Nigeria. He is the only man who have gone through that. Wazirike fell into their hand today. Ikedife went through that very game. Every time you see him, when he passed Nigerian boundary, he talk Nigeria. It's not a hidden thing. He himself, say, common conference. Look at what everybody is talking about. He made it open with his own, to show that he is not capable of fighting for that thing he believes everywhere he goes. It's only Tony. Only Tony. If you know any other person who does it among all these people who say they are looking for this and that, you bring them forward. We are not saying it in animosity. We are saying it in a way that we want to review our stance with full understanding. with happiness, trying to see where we have gone wrong, not to insult one another, but to bring justice to this very our search for freedom. The reasons why we should believe whatever we believe. We should be able to investigate matters. The mistake we did or we are doing is the mistake of not knowing what the other team is all about before you make conclusions, before you insult them, before you condemn them. You should have a taste of the cake before you know it is rotten. You should be able to choose, like I've been saying, between oranges, which one is good if you can see them, feel them, and right in front of you. That's the only way you can make a right choice. And now, like I started, the only way we can feel these organizations or groups of agitators like oranges is by what they lay down for us. What we can see is their agendas. I have gone through that, all the whole agendas one by one, not in disrespect. We have done that completely and say, if you know anything otherwise from what I said, what I know, you say free interactive program. You call and say, this group is also has an ideology to this. They are working through this. Then we can think about it. We can review them to get these things right. It's no need coming out insulting ourselves when we don't know who the man you're insulting is, what the group you're insulting stands for, what they are fighting. We know there are very bad elements among us. We also know there are good ones. How do you sort out these differences if you don't feel it, if you don't engage it? That is that question, and that is that mistake. That is why that language is a very big poison. Consistence is a poison to this very movement. To say that somebody is inconsistent because he goes from group to group. I gave you complete. If you are inquisitive, if you are so anxious, if you love the name Biafra and you want it to come, and then today is the day you're entering, you heard of it from a friend, one friend, then he told you, maybe through Radio Biafra, maybe through Billy, and as we know that we have so many bad eggs all around there as groups of Biafra, then you fall into one of them, unfortunately one of the bad ones, and you realize that you are, just because of your anxiousness, because of your zeal for that freedom, you are the person you want the real freedom, it is in your mind, the truth. Then you happen, unfortunately, it happens. We know it happens. You can't be so perfect, you can't be so lucky to the first move you make. Because of this day, because of that very anxiety, you fall to the wrong side. Then you happen to realize that you have fallen into the wrong side. What will you do? It's a question for you to answer. What will you do? Or if you happen to fall into a side, it's not wrong, not that they are fraudulent, but you see that it doesn't really make the move you want, or it's not having any prospect of getting to the question. They have also the same zeal like you, but doesn't have the foresight to move it forward. What will you do? You keep searching. That is why we are searching. We are on the quest. We have to search around our house. And it's no longer ama. You get both of such chase no longer. Matter on the real position before you come and shout outside and want freedom. From what platform? From what movement? Is it a possible movement? So this is why it is important that we try to study each and every other group, and not by one man's word of condemning them, accept that they are as rotten as we are told without seeing it. It's just like him hiding oranges, 9 oranges in the cupboard, and brought out one and tell you this is the best out of the rest 9. And you accept it. When you have the choice, when you have the right to pick up the best of those oranges, because what you need is an orange with a good taste. on already that naga agbaga for tomorrow, and that's what we are looking for when we say we are looking for the freedom of our people. And that is why I did and searched the way I did. I've said it, people accuse me, Emmanuel Choraka, but at the same time, Emmanuel Nakwaba from one to one, from here to here. That means that means you are still wrong about saying Emmanuel Choraka Kekwano otu ndị aha mefula ji convince them ebe m na-ekwu nke ọwụ nke m ka ọ na-ebe. Kedu otu aha Lower Niger ji convince them? It's because I listen. It's because I like to get overwhelmed. That is why they overwhelm me. I accept it. That is why I am the only person who is difficult for people to make U-turn. Only a few people can make that U-turn, this U-turn now, to know that yes, when you know you are wrong, the best thing is to share the shame and make a U-turn than to continue because of that language, the clause, they are consistent. You want to be consistent by into something that is fraudulent or something that is wrong or something that is not moving or something that can never work. How do you want to be consistent in that field? Somebody who put that clause of a language is putting that clause of a language to trap you, to enslave you, to make you feel that anytime you want to make a U-turn, you are a beast, you are a fool, you see yourself as a fool. That is the problem people are having. A lot of them call me. They see Lower Niger now as the way out, but they will not promote it. They cannot, because they cannot come out from talking Biafra today and turn around and tell you Lower Niger, but Emmanuel did it. Because I listen, because I want you to overwhelm me. I want to see it all. That's why I did not start paying for transcriptor I don't see. That's why I will not give Billy money to go to London or America for anything. That's why I had to pay my money to go to Spain to see it there. That's why I had to pay my money to start a station to talk and hear the voices of people. That's why I had to pay my transport to go home and see it there and work out things. That's why I do the research I do, because I am interested on that freedom. And that's the only way to go about it. We have to search within our own home, our own self, before you bury for armor. I think we have talked a lot this very evening. I think the program is nice for those who will want to understand. For all my research and all of you bearing me witness that I say I'm a jumper. I have jumped from place to place from all those research. I can tell you the best of them all, the most reliable, the only strong man who can never be deceived or misled is Tony Nadi, and the structure is Lower Niger, who has the best foundation, the best method to take us home. Let all of us support. It's not a thing of shame anymore. Tony called me and told me, when face to face, or by call, when I say call me, it was face to face at home, that the only problem he have is the problem of Europe. And what condemned Europe for him was the people who he trusted to bring the message to our people back here. Because there was no mention the name Biafra, another key point where I went spiritual to explain a little thing. For those of you who listen to the program from the onset, there's a key point there where I touched spiritual a little bit about the name too. So because of that name, the people who he trusted to bring the story, the ideology back home here in Europe for us didn't do it. That's why he always regret that fact and told me that where he have problem is that our people in Europe are being misled, which we ourselves also can today justify with that statement, that we are being misled. There is no Lower Niger in Europe. What we have is Biafra this, Biafra that, Biafra this, and all we are seeing is that same sequence, that very pattern of fraud and lies. Now that people are beginning to recover, now that people are beginning to see the truth, all we ask you now is to sail the ship. Forget about Emmanuel, forget even about Tony Nadi. Look towards that freedom and that movement that has the possibility of that freedom. Because that is what you want. That is that promise you gave that you will do anything, even up to giving up to your own life. The answer now, the question now, the problem now, everything you think about does not lie on you killing yourself, but on you now revising to say, yes, if this is the road, let's move immediately. And examine it first of all before you. Don't just say because Emmanuel told you. And the possible way, the best way to examine it is to examine the whole of these groups. Examine their ideologies, like we just did here. Play this program once again and go line in line, pause it from time to time, and use your own ideas to see what it's all about. Examine it once again, and now study these groups. Examine their ideologies and examine their leaders. Who is the person who stands like somebody who is uncorrectable? Somebody who cannot be misled from talking A to B, from singing their own song, and somebody who is engaging them on straightforward, which is what you need to take whatever you want to take from anybody you have to meet. He has all it takes. He is the only person who does what it takes, with plans, with the words, with engagement, with the sincerity and the devotion to his quest. At be it rain, come sun, we see it every day. Anytime you see Tony Nadi talking in Nigerian press, with the Nigerian press, of international African press, as long as it's anything to do with the system or with Nigeria as a body, he is telling you that same thing, that we have to talk again. Meaning we have to talk again. And that is that point. When we start to talk, we will talk to the point of no return. That referendum will come, and that is what we are talking about. If we had given him the support we needed, if we have that support that we need, maybe we have up to 10-20 people that will accompany him there with cameras and professional men who will take the cameras and everything, and he will be proud, more boastful to say those words you really want him to say. We all are human beings, eh? Oh, and you don't know self, only issue no way. You forget what you want to say. Just you are a walking chef. Call for when you know what I mean. We all knows what I'm talking about. We are human beings. So, what gives you support? What gives you the ability is the support you have. That courage comes from who is behind you. If he goes inside the room like that with only him alone, he feels completely wretched. You go 2 people, you have 1 more weight. Then if you are 10 people with cameras and ready for what you want to do, my brother, you hear language. You get more than you get your way. The words will flow because you are there present. And that can only come when we give that support. Biafra movement have taken support for 20 years now. There's so many groups, all of them have taken more support than the lower Niger. But I promise you something, being somebody who went home and you saw it, lower Niger has the highest population than any of them. If you want to prove it, you see what happened. All their emblems, none of the Biafran groups, caused a meeting, and you saw the kind of banners you saw there. They all represented themselves and made themselves known. Since I know Biafran meeting, what Biafran meeting, or only Biafran Igbos, all of them, Abo Ato, Nokoto Nise. Ndi Igbo, Ndi Igbo. This is the only meeting when you see what happened, you see the composition of how the people came with their banners, with the respect, with the full zeal, and you know that this is the movement that have the powers if they are given the morale they need. We get what we want. I promise you people in less than 2 years, in less than 5 years. And there is no other movement. Like I have settled it down here. If you know anyone, kindly bring the report, we deal with it. That have any better chances and the time frame to achieve the success than Lower Niger. How many years will it take us to fight? What are we going to lose if we fight? Who is going to do that fighting? Where is the resupplement of fight? And what will be the last outcome if we go to war? Again, we need to we go. That is the agenda of Lower Niger of Arubi Air. I get print the plate number. I got run passport. I get metal one motor. I go and can I get me email home, email alert people who must up. But to look on the program towards achieving Biafra. You have done a lot good. You have also done some mockery and done a lot bad also. But going forward, what is your program? I don't see. Only man more than what I know should bring forward. We know about it. We debate it and we talk about it. Ndị bile, aga court, aga UN, aga nka. Okay, court case, how many years? It can take 10 years, it can take 20, it can take 50. We know what we are talking about. The possibility is there, yes, because nothing is impossible in life today. But in Nigeria, well, it might take decades. It's a good move. But the time frame, we look at it, we drop it. We didn't say it's bad. It can be plan B, it can be plan C. Because we are not moving on one plan. But we want to know which one to carry on now. Most effective. That will be most supportive, most agreed. Oh yeah, will be there. Oh yeah, hakoga. Ah, what a nna dị ole ha ọkụga ma anyị kpọkọta onwe anyị ọnụ n'ụlọ Niger ogbu anyị apụtakwu okwu kedu ihe anyị chọrọ emewa declare what is your name na the Lower Niger Federation. I will not go into the prospect of explaining Oduduwa. I was talking with somebody today asking on the Yoruba Bidokola Nagan. Then it's about movement of New Nigeria MNN. So many people misunderstand that very aspect of the issue also. But now that I remember it, I will keep it for another day's program. We are running short of time because we've been here for a long time now, I think so. So now we'll keep that very topic for another day to explain the movement of New Nigeria, how it concerns us and what we should be concerned about in it. Somebody asked me a question about it today. I tried to make that clarification, and through his countenance I found out that he's not all that satisfied with my answers. But I would like to come up with that again. If people like also to ask, I would like people. Now I am into something that I have researched and I know. I believe now that it is going to be difficult for somebody to ask me the relationship within the activities in the movement that I can, not that I can answer you all, but at least I can give reasonable response to what I know, what the movement is all about, and how I believe that we are going to scale through. We will make it. We will make it. It's not going to be, we will get through. We will get through because we are doing something that shows getting through. But we're only urging our people to understand exactly what to do and what we know or what we want. We want Europe to be strong. Europe has no movement in as much as the referendum campaign is concerned or support to the organizers of the referendum campaign. That is a misunderstanding or the problem of how do we the platform to move this thing forward. That has always been I spoke with Asare today. these people have two issues. They can be with us, they believe they can do it with us, or they cannot do it with us. So in any way, people there is something somebody wanna think I wanna something. He have his home and he have where he have two ways to do his thing. So it is difficult to deal with such people. That is the problems we are encountering. Somebody like Owazirike will never accept living what he believes in, that myself. The highest he can go, the compromise he can make is United States of Biafra, which will not accommodate most of the people from the other side. You see meetings, then you see lack of agreement. But you see some kind of okay, we are working together by mouth. The working together can only come if we believe that now we have plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, and so on, in as much as we have so many groups. But now to consider which of these plans should come forward, which one should be the A and which one should be the B. Not that we are going to throw any of these groups' agendas away. We are going to make them consider your plan and know that your plan have a 10-year what do you call it, span to go on, and then you watch another. That's why it's good to study every group's plan. What are they into? What is their time frame? What are they working on? How can we help you when need be? This is supposed to be the sign of relationships we are supposed to have, in as much as we have different groups and live by them, the different groups. But the coordination there is for you to be able to study and know what the groups know and to compare it with your own program. Knowing your own program have a more lengthy time, and there is a shorter people who are talking about something now than later when your own is later. There's no way you can draw shorter the court program than the procedures, the proceedings of the court case. So we know that in the court case now, the proceedings might take us 10 years. Now, if we put it that way, then you come about looking at another group that looking for the same freedom you are looking for, because what your own gain there is how the freedom come about. Because mind you, our promise to this very game is that we can do anything. That should be the motto. I can do anything for this freedom. If you have that in mind, you should be able to be flexible. That is the swear. So many people, I will kill myself. We don't want you to kill yourself. We just want you to be able to be to diversify when need be. So now, oh my God, I think we're Philip. I don't know. You are there?
I'm here.
Yeah. Is it good? So, my brothers and sisters, wherever you are listening, the people in the audience, I know there are people watching and listening. It's good that people are listening, and let them, when we put this message across on Facebook, let them be able to share it. My brothers and sisters, that's what I will tell you. If you feel the message is worth understanding, then let's spread it. Let's work with it.
Okay. I want you for that thing, eh?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm the president. So this is a real freedom fighter. You know what?
Only send it again.
After the money that they have in America.
Yes.
To grow, yeah, reply us. This is a real freedom fighter.
People have problem with it, and I see their problems. You know, there's nothing that can be perfect in as much as we are in this very situation now. Everything they know managing, and now is the time. I believe the only thing that will settle the problem is how for any group now to show what they can do in the nearest future.
But the thing I'm about when I made that declaration again.
You see somebody right here where that thing read. One guy now I'm reading on Facebook, he said fake, fake, fake. This video is made in Nigeria. In Kenya now.
Upon your mother, one of the lady, the congresswoman not there, that Lee somebody, the kind of Roger Summon invite that American lady.
There are so many other cameras on this very.
I want to come around on the shoot to see her.
They will come out. If we search, we will get people from another perspective and get it. Huh? Chinemere Homa Kogene. So anyway, I'm closing the program for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I wish you all. Oh, Diana, Egan to this is on the Lower Niger referendum, I think. Lower Niger referendum movement. Or on the side, not the group.
No,
You get the on Lower Niger referendum movement. Lower Niger, you get the Lower Niger, then give us a referendum movement. But I heard them send that thing. The last statement, the last comment. Now somebody said fake that it was made in. This is what is their problem. They are there to judge the conduct and not listen to the messages and understand it. So, my brother, let me end this studio first before we can continue. Brothers and sisters, we are run out of program, our time, and tomorrow you can be able to watch this program again on our website, and we are going to also post it online on Facebook, on Twitter, like we always do, on YouTube, for people who missed it, people who are just joining in to see the fullest of it again. It's a very interesting program, and we hope that you have a lot of conviction through it. May God bless you all as we stay our day. Good night.